MSNBC political analyst Karen Finney was the spokesperson for the Democratic National Committee, and Princella Smith is a conservative commentator who once worked for former Speaker Gingrich. Princella, we'll start with you. You know, this is reportedly about the spouse of Gingrich. Staffers saying that Newt deferred to what his wife wanted, even if the staffers disagreed. So is this fair criticism?
You know, I won't get into talking about Callista, and just for fair game here so everybody can understand, I am friends with them, so my opinion is going to be a bit biased. But I will say this: I worked for Newt for 2 years, been friends with him for about 4 years, and I can tell you he's just not the traditional conventional type of candidate. When we worked at American Solutions, if you remember the 2008 presidential bomb that he threw, drill here, drill now, and he built a database of 1.7 million people following him. That's kind of the way Newt Gingrich operates. And what happened is, and I talked to a few of the staffers, they did want to go in a different direction. They tried to make him more of a conventional, traditional type of candidate. And if you look at the history of Newt Gingrich, that's just, he hasn't done anything traditional. When he did the contract with America, that wasn't traditional. Like I said, drill here, drill now, again, that wasn't traditional. So what Gingrich is going to do is he's going to find people who can kind of fit that mold. Unfortunately, when you're running for president, that's not quite always the, I guess, most successful way or route to go about. So he's in a tough spot, but I would not count him out. He's the king of comebacks. So.
And unconventional. Karen, you know, Newt's relaunch, you were talking about it. You know, does he really get a do-over here at this time in the race?
I don't think so. I mean, because isn't this like relaunch 3 or 4.0? Because didn't he start with, maybe I'm going to run, I'm not running this day, it's going to be that day, this is my now. I mean, you know, he's had a really bad start. There's a couple of things, though, I would say. First of all, it's really crap to blame the spouse. I am so tired of that. That is as old as anything, where, you know, generally the male campaign staffers say, oh, he's, you know, being dragged around by his wife. That's crap. The candidate themselves are responsible at the end of the day for everything that happens. You know, I worked for Governor Dean when he was at the DNC, and he would tell you when his campaign imploded, ultimately, that was his fault. He takes accountability for that. Newt has to take accountability. But secondly, I think the problem that Newt has, two things. One, he still has a lot of baggage that he's not yet been able to convince voters that this is the new Newt and that baggage is all in the past. And then secondly, the problem with what's happening in this non-traditional, and that's a great spin on it, but it reconfirms and exemplifies the concern about him, something, as you pointed out, he's already admitted, he's undisciplined. And so that doesn't make people feel like they want to put their political careers on the line, or their money, or their time and effort for somebody they're not sure can really go all the way.
You know, Princella, I know you speak to Newt quite often in the past, as well as up to today. Have you spoken to him recently?
I have, and like I said,
what did he say?
He is a friend. Again, you keep your friends by keeping things confidential. But I would say this: I think non-discipline is the wrong word. You got to remember, this man has run and chaired several organizations at the same time.
But Princella, what is he thinking right now in that conversation? Does he feel confident? Does he feel like this is a normal step in the process of moving forward? This
I told you, Newt Gingrich is. Look, if you look on the side of the right, there's a couple people that have had original ideas. It's been Newt and Haley Barbour, and that's it. And I can tell you this: he's in constant contact with members of Congress, with governors across the country. But he is the idea man on the right, so he's not giving up.
Okay,
he's in it to win it.
Go ahead,
it's different. I was just going to say, it's different to be an ideas person and throw ideas out there than in a campaign where you actually have to be accountable for those ideas. So you have to put forward the ideas and say, this is how I'm going to do it.
He is accountable.
All right, to both of you, I wish we could spend more time. I do want to talk about Romney, though, right now, and move on from Newt, because we spent a good amount of time on him. For Romney, if you could hear Karen, setting expectations for Iowa, putting his money on New Hampshire. But I got a question. You know, what if he doesn't do well there either? Is he too far behind then, 2 states gone?
Well, he might be. I mean, you know, this is going to be a very interesting beginning of the cycle, because you know, the traditional wisdom is, you know, you get your momentum coming out of Iowa, and then that takes you into New Hampshire. We've obviously seen it work a different way several times. I think, though, from Romney's perspective, he's right to limit the amount he's going to put into Iowa, because, you know, frankly, those are probably not his voters. I mean, his voters really are in New Hampshire, so he's going to have to. He does put pressure on himself there, though, he's going to have to do very well. And if he places somewhere in the top 4 or 5 in Iowa, I think he'll be fine.
Princella, last word to you. So he's skipping that straw poll in Iowa. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. I actually helped with the straw poll in the Iowa caucuses, and I remember being very unimpressed with how much money Governor Romney had to spend to come into, second place in the caucus. And in the straw poll, he came in first place, but it was he barely won it. So I think it's a good move.
All right, Princella, as well. Karen, thank you so much. Have a very good weekend.
Thanks.
Sarah Palin's still thinking about whether she'll run for president, but she may have